Dusan, thank you for inviting us here. And so we have a common presentation. We did it together, and we are going to talk about home kitchen, about creative industries, about how one traditional dish came to the market through creative industries. So we are going to start with the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage. We mentioned it several times these days, and we were also talking that food and eating is a very complex practice. So we decided to start quoting some parts of this convention to focus on food in particular. So now I will quote Article 2, Paragraph 1. The intangible cultural heritage means the practices, representations, expressions, knowledge, skills that communities, groups, and in some cases individuals recognize as a part of their cultural heritage. So, although the food is not mentioned explicitly in the convention, it is obvious that it goes about the practices, the representations, expressions, knowledge, and skills that communities and individuals recognize. So, intangible cultural heritage also may manifest in several domains. Quoting these conventions, we pointed to those domains that food belongs to. So it belongs to oral traditions and expressions in the sense that we talk about recipes that are transmitted orally from generation to generation, usually among women. Then it's definitely performing arts. It's social practice. It belongs both to those everyday rituals and meals, but also to some special rituals and festive events. Also, it may be recognized as knowledge and practice concerning nature and the universe, in the sense that when we prepare food, we always use ingredients, something that is grown and nurtured in the nature. And of course, it is some type of traditional craftsmanship. And as we are going to see, it can be part of today and contemporary craftsmanship. So our example is the shop, the dessert, the pastry shop, I don't know how to call it, Ferdinand Knedle. And it is Ferdinand Knedle appeared in Belgrade in 2016 when Lana Nedeljković, the former banker, decided to open pastry shop, preparing dumplings that are based on the traditional recipe of plum dumplings that are, I think, popular all across this area. It is interesting that Bojana and I, at first we thought it is some kind of dish that is specific for Serbia, because probably Serbia uses the brand of plums as something very specific. But actually, it's not popular only in the former Yugoslavia, but all across the former Habsburg monarchy. So it's very widespread dish. It can be seen as a dish that belongs to Central European cuisine. We were talking about Mediterranean diet yesterday, and it's interesting and it's very important that it has been recognized as intangible cultural heritage since 2013. It not happens always and often that administration of UNESCO recognizes those practices that go across national borders and that are not so uncommon. So it's always nice to hear that something has a success as Mediterranean diet, as stage as we heard a few days ago. But those practices definitely exist, and national borders are not actually the borders of tradition, although it is so often recognized within some borders. So we talk about today we are talking about one traditional dish that belongs to intangible cultural heritage, and that was used by the creative industries to go out on the market, and it really had a great success, becoming one recognizable gastronomic brand. It's interesting, in one interview, Lana Nedeljković mentioned that she got the idea at home from children because they simply didn't like plums. They don't like plums. I also, as a kid, I was always putting out the plum. I liked these dumplings, but I put those. And she started to make these dumplings with Nutella and plasma, and they say it's the most popular today among children. But actually, there is diversity of flavors and diversity of colors. I will move now a little bit. One of the most popular, we like the most, one with pistachio. So that's why this presentation is green. These dumplings are really colorful, and there is also always some combination of flavors and colors. When we visited this pastry shop, we were talking with the man who works there, and he said that all colors are natural. So there was dumpling from Madagascar. It's not here, it's orange. We've heard that the color is from curcuma. So everything is natural. They make these dumplings according to the old recipe. So the recipe always includes cooked potatoes that are after that mashed. So it's not very easy to make it, but these dumplings are actually a combination of old traditional recipe and these new flavors. So very important in this process was branding the product. So it was important to think about the name. So the name, they are named after the Emperor Ferdinand, and according to the legend, he would say, he used to say, give me the dumplings, I'm the emperor. So we see how we see here the shift from some descriptive title that existed in the traditional kitchen to some personal title that actually adds the symbolic value to the product on the market. It is interesting that the first pastry shop appeared in the street of now I couldn't remember the name. So very soon in the social media appeared some commentaries that it was on purpose, but actually the owner said that it was really by chance that they came across the space which is close to school and close to the university, and that they realized that they would have a lot of customers there. And I think actually the young people they're mostly most of the customers are young people, but we don't know that yet. So we did small pilot research. We did some interviews. We were interested which dumplings are more popular. And as it turned out, we expected that children would prefer these Ferdinand dumplings, but as it turned out, only one child said that she doesn't like plum dumplings because she doesn't like plums, and that she prefers those different tastes. Here, I will read a quote of a woman, 75 years old, and she says, I used to eat them as a child. My mother was an excellent homemaker. She always made them with plums. It was an everyday dessert, like a jam roll, floating islands, or sponge cake. They were not a special occasion dessert. For special occasions, cakes and baklava were made. Knedle were eaten on ordinary days after lunch. I also made them for my children. I inherited the recipe from my mother. Potatoes, flour, some lard, and plums, of course. I also made them with apricots, but that's not quite it. Knedle are with plums. Now we buy them ready-made. few days ago. We tried pistachio ones. They're nice, but they're not like homemade. So from this short interview, we may recognize several specificities. So it's about dessert that is homemade and that is not made on special occasions. This is everyday dessert. It's not made for guests, it's not made for festivities and birthdays. So that's the one thing. We see that it is consumed in the private sphere. We also hear about the recipe, which doesn't change, which is transmitted in the family among women. And what I wanted to say more. Yes, and we see the preference that this woman expressed to a homemade dessert. This element of homemade dessert and the basic recipe is going to stay an important part of this new brand, Ferdinand dumplings. So I'm going to give word to Bojana, and she will say something more about this process of Ferdinand Knedl going to market and working of cultural industries.
Thank you, Lada. Let's now take a brief look at how the process of reshaping this traditional dish operates within the framework of creative industries. So Lada and me, we selected four crucial steps in this branding process. So first of all, we have change of name. The name Knedle Sašlivama is descriptive and collective. In contrast, Ferdinand Knedle introduces personalization and very specific historical reference, building a recognizable product identity. So the name no longer simply denotes type of dishes, describing it. It becomes a tool for differentiation in marketplace. The dumpling is not anymore a homemade dessert, becoming a commodity that is recognized, remembered, and chosen, which is very important in this branding process. So in this sense, the brand functions as a framework of meaning. It offers not only flavor, but also a story, which is also very important, and atmosphere in which the product is consumed. As Naomi Klein observes, contemporary branding relies precisely on the creation of such narratives. So the second step in this branding process is changing recipe. So within the family context, the recipe is relatively stable and normative. In the branding process, however, there is a multiplication of flavors and aesthetic transformation. Yet the basic formula of these dumplings remains the same. It is not simplified, which makes it not enough good for extremely massive production. So this established what can be called flexible authenticity. Tradition becomes a platform for innovation. Here, the market functions as a space for the reinterpretation of cultural heritage. So the next step is a change in production. So traditional dumpling production belonged to the realm of homemade, home-based work and family reproduction, gendered and informal economy. Ferdinand Knedle entered the domain of entrepreneurship and creative industries. So this shift demonstrates that the market is not just a mechanism of exchange, but also a cultural construct, as Ildiko Erdei shows, a place where new meanings and values are created. Last but not least step in the branding process is change in consumption context. So traditional dumplings belong to the private sphere. They are everyday, family-centered, and unspectacular dessert. Ferdinand Knedle, however, move beyond this context, so they are most often consumed in a street shop, sweet shop, which is a public space, becoming part of lifestyle consumption. They are no longer just a dessert with the meat at home. Each encounter with them becomes a performative act where eating is experienced as a special event rather than the routine. In this way, food moves from the sphere of reproduction to the sphere of representation, in fact.
Okay, and so now as a conclusion, I would like to say that talking about tradition, we also repeated several times that as Hobsbawm and Ranger emphasized, tradition is always chosen in the present, playing and using the past actually, and we see here how creative and industries actually do the same. They use the past, choosing it at the present moment. So thank you.